Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel. I'm going to start a new playlist on Model Context Protocol or MCP. MCP has been treated as the future of AI agents. Everybody is saying that it has the potential that can transform the entire AI agent ecosystem. And I do believe in that statement that this is something which has a lot of potential that will make the entire ecosystem really uh, scalable when it comes to enterprises and how we can build systems. So I'm going to talk about MCP, and this is completely for beginners. In this playlist, I'm trying to I think I'm thinking to create 10 videos, and you should have no knowledge. If you even if you haven't heard about the term MCP, that's completely fine. I'm going to start from theory to practical. We're going to build our own MCP servers. We see how do we connect with different systems and so on and so forth. We're going to use tools like Composio, Claude Desktop, Windsurf, Cursor, Klein, so on and so forth, right? So uh, it's going to be an interesting playlist. I kind of don't create such playlist, on singular topics. Mainly project driven video that I have been creating, but I want to cover MCP in detail because I spent a lot of time with MCP. So let's jump in and see what we can do with this. And I'm going to first show you a glimpse of what MCP can do. Now you see I'm on Claude here. It's Claude Desktop, okay, on my screen. And in this, it says, how can Claude help you today? So for example, models which don't have access to, for example, let's say internet, and if I ask the current weather of any city across the globe, the model cannot answer it because they don't have an ability to search internet. That's where something like MCP comes in. And we can talk about why not function calling, why not just using some tools and blah blah blah. Why MCP? We'll go there. But in those kind of use cases or those kind of scenarios where you want to do something uh, on some servers, like for example, if you want to fetch weather data, you have to call some APIs, and those APIs will be hosted on some kind of servers and so on and so forth, right? So it's your server that goes to that server, fetches information through an API and responds back to the user. So now if I ask question like how is the current weather in Chicago, for example. And you can see I have Claude 3.7 Sonnet. And just before I press this enter icon here or submit icon, you can see it says a hammer like an icon here. It says two MCP tools available. It says get underscore alerts and get underscore forecast. And you can see it says get weather alerts for a US state, two-letter US state code, CANY, blah, 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 and those kind of things. So let's say for example weather in CA, right? And we see now how is the current weather in CA, California. So if I just click on this, you would see that it will ask me, or you can see it says it's asking me to connect with a tool. It says allow tool from weather, this local. You can see it over here. I'm going to say allow for this chat. Now it's going to you can see it says running get underscore alerts from weather, and it's looking at the state CA, and it's going to fetch the information from me. It says Cloud's response was interrupted, please check your network connection. Sometimes it has rate limiting, sometimes it does not work, but that's completely fine. We can check that out. But this is what this is what it's gonna do, because I can show you a previous response from here. Maybe you can see this current weather in Chicago that I asked. I can see it says view result from get forecast from weather local. Currently in Chicago, it's 44 degree Fahrenheit and sunny with east northeast winds at 5 to 10 mph, something like that, right? So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna build these kind of stuffs. Here again, you can start it, but yeah, you can see California weather alerts. This is chat, and how we are running it. I'm going to show you this. You can see some codes here, but yeah, that's we're gonna do it in the video number 2, and that. But let's go through first MCP and why there's a need of it. So Model Context Protocol, it's a protocol for LLM based agents to connect different data sources, like content, tools, etc. And the goal is to standardize the connectivity and simplify the management of AI systems. It's a protocol. Uh, you can also call it as a tool, uh, but in a sense, why should we not call this tool to create confusion? Because tool is one of the features that's get exposed through MCP, a model context protocol. So the question is, how does it look like? So now if I have to divide that, you can see an MCP, it has a client and a server. So I'm going to write an MCP client and MCP server. Just see this as your USB port C charger that you have, right? Imagine, think MCP as that port C where different different modules can connect. That can be a database, that can be an API, that can be a tool that can connect to this. That port C charger that you have to charge your mobile phone, right? Now, uh, there are a lot of benefits. We're going to talk about the benefits, how it works, and everything. But my first thing is to help you understand that it has an MCP client and an MCP server. Within an MCP, it's a client server architecture. So let me just write it. It's a client and server architecture. That's what it is. In nutshell. So it will have a client, it will have a server, can have multiples as well. Now, if you talk an example of MCP client, it's an agent, or it can be an app. So in this case, the example that we just saw, it can be Cloud Desktop. So Cloud Desktop becomes your client. That's gonna basically a host, right? That's a client that's gonna uh, host you to do some kind of task, and we're gonna talk about it. So it has Cloud Desktop as an example. You can use any IDEs like Cursor, for example. So we are of course gonna use Windsurf and Cursor in the upcoming videos in this playlist. But yeah, this is an MCP client. Now a server can be, can be a program. Of course, I mean, this desktop and all are also built on top of programs only, uh, language server programs. We're going to talk about it, but this is it's a lightweight program. So let me just write it over here. A lightweight program, that connects to and exposes functionality for specific data sources and tools. Now this can be anything. This can be a tool, that can be any resource. Now in this tool can be, for example, a web search, like we just did a API search, right? Web search, a calculate, we have API connections, so on and so forth, right? And this all happens through what? This happens through some kind of, you also have prompt methods, so it happens through prompt, it happens through some routes, etc., right? That's what it happens. Now MCP was first announced by Anthropic in November last year. So if I have to write it, because you should also write it, guys, because that helps you for interview preparation as well. It was introduced by Anthropic. Anthropic is an AI first startup, has investment from companies like Amazon and Google and so many other companies, and like a venture capitalist, right? Now it's huge. Is used. Anthropic launched it in November 2020. I think November, yes, November 2024, is it? Yes, 4. Sorry, I'm writing 3. Now, lot of tools are using, a lot of IDEs have integrations, has a way to integrate like Cursor, Windsurf. You can also use open source reproduction of something like Claude, like Incline. You can use that. Now, it's an open source version of Cursor, you can say. So I'm going to say OSS version of Cursor. Now let's have a look at an example here, that why do we need that? Okay. Now imagine if let's take an example. If James is developing, uh, so I'm writing here, is if James is developing an LLM agent, and that LLM agent he is developing, for example, let's say in Llama, or let's say Haystack, or let's say, for example, I don't know, maybe Llama Index. Okay, these are orchestration frameworks that we use to build, agentic workflows, racks, and basically Gen AI systems in general. Now, if James is developing an LLM agent in these frameworks, but now if there is a very good tool which is available, a tool which is available in LangChain, which is already available. For example, let's say LangChain, uh, LangChain has something called, let's say, DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo, which is not available in either of Haystack or Llama Index. Then how will this work? So in that scenario, you know, uh, it's already available in LangChain. So in that scenario, we can use MCP protocol here. to kind of use, irrespective of, and I'll say that when I say irrespective, it should of course it should follow some parent child processes, and I'm going to talk about it. That's how it works in VS Code as well. But I'm going to talk about it, that this is how easy it is, guys. MCP can help here through a client server architecture. you know, uh, and we're going to talk about in the detail, how does it look like. But yeah, it's based on what kind of things it's based on. It's based on JSON RPC. We're going to talk about JSON RPC, but I want to first give a more uh, understanding here. So let me just go a bit up, right? Now you can say, why can't you use function calling? Now function calling is very hard coded. Okay, when it comes, it has to be implemented in the same language and the framework, as the LLM workflow that you are building, right? That's how you define some YAML files or schema within it, and but it has to be in the same language and the same frameworks and the same code base, right, on the LLM workflow. That's how it is different from function calling. You can see MCP as the proxy of function calls. If I write it, it's nothing but the function calling proxy. So let me just do here function calling proxy in terms, because function calling is very hard coded, right? Uh, in a way, it's very hard coded. It has to follow a same language and a framework. So let me just write it here, right? Same language, same framework. So even if you don't agree that no, it's not that uh, what I was saying, hard coded. Even it's not hard coded, it's really tightly coupled. Okay, if you have worked with architectural designs, you will understand loosely coupled systems and tightly coupled system. If you see function calling within an application that you are building, it becomes very tightly coupled, and that's where we bring MCP, which is very loosely coupled in a way. So, for example, you just have an LLM app. So you have an LLM app that uses an MCP client, and that has an MCP server right now, and this can access DB, API, etc. Right? It can do various, and this is based on nothing but JSON RPC, and here you can write like in memory, maybe, if that makes sense. This is what it is now. In MCP servers, the functions can run basically in this server. This can run independently, no, as servers on separate processes. It has, or nodes. It has nothing to look at the LLM side. And this LLM app can only create instances and implement through a consistent interface kind of a thing. So you don't need function calling anymore, if you work with MCP to deal with. Now, if you can ask what is JSON RPC, right? It's very similar to uh, language server protocol. I will not go that deep into it. There's something called LSP, which is language language server protocol. Now, it's very similar how VS Code uses it. VS Code uses it is a lot. This is behind the method completion. So if you write code in the VS Code IDEs, if you're writing a function, you're writing a method, the method gets completed, right? That's where they use language server protocol and LSP to do that. Basically, it used in method completion, jumping the functions, function jumping. I don't know what they call it, but function jumps or something in VS Code. That's the background of it. Now it has a lot of components. We're going to talk about it, but if I have to design the uh, what you call it is the architecture, because that's very famous on internet wherever you open it. So we can also do that. So let's do that. How does it looks like, right? So if you say we have an MCP client, and now imagine if I have multiple servers, and of course Claude can access it, right? You could see that I just shown you two MCP servers in through Anthropic Claude, and we're going to define it. We're going to build some amazing MCP servers to do RAG and web scraping and so on and so forth, right? Now here I'm going to writing server A, server B, and then imagine if I have local database. And if I just close this here, this thingy, and then I have something outside, that's also very possible, right? That's also very possible. And I'm just gonna put this inside it. Okay, now here, if you look at this, now this becomes your host. This MCP client that you see, this is nothing but the host. Now in this host, it can be IDE, it can be like anything. It can be it can be like, for example, Cloud, let's say, Cloud Desktop, right? And IDE can be like Cursor, Windsurf, etc. right here. Now, if I connect, let's say if we have things like this, these are nothing but here I'm writing for all. This is where the MCP protocol works. Okay, this is server A, server B, server C. This is your computer. Let's say this is my computer, and this is internet. So this is external. This is outside now, right? Now this server can connect with this, and this connect with this. Now imagine this is my DBA, and this is my database B, and this is like it's a remote service. So it's remote service, which is C, right? It's your internet. It's external. Now you can call it web API like DuckDuckGo as you're talking about, or Tavilai, or SERP API, whatever. Now this is how the architecture of MCP protocol works, guys. You have a client that can connect with multiple servers. Now that server can access sources within your computer, or can go external as well if you have internet connectivity or wherever you have hosted it. And compatible with multiple programming languages. Even the SDKs are available to work in TypeScript, Python, Rust, and whatnot, right? Now this is interesting. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to also list down some methods of MCP which are available. See if I go up, so you should know about these things. Okay, so let me just do, let's say, methods of MCP. That's what it is. Now, in methods of MCP, let me list down all the methods which are available. It's called resources list. So there are 6 methods you should at least know for now. Resources list, resources read, and number 3, tools. So it has resources, tools, and prompt, and everything has, but tools has call, not read. So tools call, and then prompt list and prompt get. So these are the methods we're going to, of course, when we are coding it, we're going to go through it. And I'm going to also introduce a lot of open source related stuff here. Uh, Now, if you have LLMs, okay, and then you have tools, these are now can be really loosely coupled. It don't have to be tightly coupled. If you're doing function calling, or if you are using any other way in an agentic workflows, you can use MCP built in any language. If it supports child processes system, a child parent child based processes kind of an architecture, then this will definitely work. So that's what it is. You can also say it's a function calling proxy if you want to call it MCP, but it has benefits. It's really future proof. If app grows bigger in size, right? MCP, it's a modular architecture. It's based on client server architecture. This will help in the scaling as well. That's the benefit. So if I have to write the benefit, so there are a lot of benefits, but if I have to write like 2 3 benefits here, so let me just write the benefits over here. Now the first thing is the security design. Security design is also very important. I'll probably talk about it because it solves the problem of exposing credentials that is difficult to address within the function calls. Sometimes it becomes exposed. So that's security design. Let me just go here. It's a future proof. It's also future proof in a way. I said the scalability thing, so it can help in scaling. And also the building. I'm going to also write ecosystem that I talked about when I started this playlist, like the video, right? It can build a network of capabilities that can be shared among other applications. That's where we want to look at Glama. okay, where you can host your own MCP servers for the world. I'm going to show that in the upcoming videos, but that's what it is, guys. I wanted to cover this first theoretical part, and then we go into the how we're gonna first build that. So in the next video, we're gonna build it. I think we can take a pause here for this introduction thing. In the next video, we're gonna build our first MVP on Claude Desktop. I'm gonna show you how you have to configure the JSON and how you can load that MCP thing in the next video. So if you like this video, please hit the like icon. And if you have any question, thoughts, or feedback, then I'm starting the playlist. And of course, this video was completely theoretical and we didn't write a single line of code, but we're going to do that in the next video. So wait for it if you are someone who likes to write code. But the theory is also very important, to understand. Your fundamentals should be very clear when you go forward. So we're gonna in the next video, it's better if you can install UV. UV is like, I'm going to talk about that in the next video. You have UV, you have Claude Desktop. That are the two requirements, and rest will handle it. So let me know your thoughts, feedback in the comment box. And you can also reach out to me through my social media channels. Find those information on channel banner and channel about us. If you like the content, please hit the like icon. If you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe the channel, guys. That motivates me to create more such videos. I hope you like the video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.